Off the number one ranked team in the entire Commonwealth of Pennsylvania. We're talking about the head coach of the Bishop O'Reilly Lady Queensmen, and Mr. Barola will be talking with us about that. We have other aspects of sports as we move along. We have the Al Michaels Sports Quiz and some nifty prizes in that category. I'm Ron Allen. I'm with you live between now and noon. It is...
And now, from anywhere in warm land, at 1-800-894-WARM. From Wyoming Valley, call 822-6161. And it's always a free cellular call from Cellular One by hitting star WARM. Ron Allen.
There were many, many exciting high school basketball games that were played yesterday. I'm not sure if there's been a more exciting girls basketball game or boys basketball game, for that matter, played in Northeast Pennsylvania in the last 5 years, and what transpired in Plymouth when the Bishop O'Reilly Queensmen defeated the state's number one ranked team, the Lady Brooms of Bishop O'Hara, with a buzzer beater shot, 62-58. George Barola is the head basketball coach of the Queensmen of Bishop O'Reilly. George, how long have you been coaching now, bud?
10 years.
Does this rank right there with the heart thumper of all heart thumpers?
Oh, definitely. We were a big underdog going to the game, and girls gave a full team effort and pulled through.
I asked this of the coach I interviewed a bit earlier today. What do you tell a bunch of kids when you know and they know that that they're ranked underdogs? How do you prepare a team in a position like that, George?
I think sometimes it might be easier to prepare them because it takes a little of that pressure off them, and that puts more pressure on the team that's undefeated to maintain that. We've been in that situation before, and that's explained to the girls that sometimes when a team has like 25, 26 wins in a row, or they're right up there, when they get in the ball game, it gets crunch time, they maybe start thinking about how it is, to lose, so they play not to lose instead of playing to win, and we wanted to get them in that position yesterday.
George, I don't want to be too nasty to you, but I want to be realistic and objective on this. You had a host of reasons why you should have lost that game. Yesterday, number one, you played very poorly early. You were turning the ball over, and then, I guess, with not very much time remaining in the game, you were trailing O'Hara by 7. And they're the number one team in the state, and they're not the type of ball club that's going to go into an El Foldo. What did you do to, what about the early turnovers? Was that early in the game jitters or what?
Yeah, definitely. I was concerned about that because the game previous to that, I think it was like a layoff and playoff situation. There were a lot of nerves out there, and the kids were showing that with their play. There were a lot of unforced turnovers. And we started the game with the intention, of playing relaxed and all that, but it is still a playoff game, and I guess the nerves were still there in the beginning of the game, and first 3 or 4 times on the court, I was thinking maybe a little deja vu of Wednesday night that we just weren't going to, execute. But after Lejeski made a three-pointer from outside, and the girls realized that if we could get the ball down the court and move the ball around, it's just another ball game. That's what we talked about. And once we got ourselves a little relaxed, we were able to control the tempo a little more.
After getting off to a stumble, by the way, we're talking to George Barola, the head basketball coach of the Lady Queensmen of the Bishop O'Reilly, for one of the major upsets of the season when they defeated the number one state-ranked Lady Brooms of Bishop O'Hara yesterday, 60-58. Even though you had a stumbling start, were you surprised when you got to halftime with a 7-point lead?
Not really, because the girls have, our record might not indicate it, but we are good, at that point we were a good 17-18. And there have been a lot of games where we just didn't turn the corner or make the play to maintain it for the win. But in that game there, the girls were totally focused on what they had to do, and I could see that their eyes and heads were clear, and every comeback that O'Hara threw at us, our girls responded with our own a great play. So I was pleased at halftime.
Yeah, a flock of the youngsters who performed for you deserve a big pat on the back. There's no doubts about that. Maybe the largest pat on the back should be reserved for Jeanette Minoric. What do you think?
Jeanette played great the last couple ball games. She's a strong kid, and the girls, we have a great program, and the girls have a lot of pride in it. And like I said, the season really didn't go as well as we planned. We expected to do a little better, even though we didn't win our conference. And the last couple games, the girls have really come to play, and she's exerted her presence on the court. And in that game there, she's just posting up low, and we did have a little size advantage physically, I think, on them, even though they are a great team. And we were taking advantage of that. We were getting her low, and she was getting her shots.
George, you only had 8 foul shots in the entire game.
I didn't even realize that. You get in the game, and it seems sometimes, the calls are going one way and not your way. And but it was a great played ball game. I thought both teams.
You said earlier when you were talking to Bobby Day, our esteemed producer of this Sunday program, that this was kind of the old Yogi Berra thing, deja vu all over again. In that last year, your ball club, Bishop O'Reilly, was favored to defeat Bishop O'Hara, and O'Hara nailed you people. And this year, it was you did a 180, I guess.
Yeah. Well, I didn't have the opportunity to see them too many times this year because of scheduling, and we're playing on the same night. And as a matter of fact, Friday night before we played them, the only tape we had on them was the tape when we played them last year at Misericordia for the championship.
So you knew that they were number 1 in the state.
I knew that they were in the state.
And you know they had played before, and you had an idea about their personnel. How good are they?
How good are they? I think they're an excellent ball club. They have strong outside perimeter shooting. They have a couple slashers with Wozniak and Harris. Harris is a great ball handler. Kennedy can take the ball outside. She's got 3-pointers. She's a strong player inside. They're a well-experienced team. They're a more mature team than they were last year and a couple of years ago. Definitely, and they're definitely, the ranking that they had was probably deserving it. They did beat everybody in that Scranton area, except that early loss to Dunmore, and they beat them up pretty good. So we were expecting our hands full.
Hopefully this morning we'll be able to talk to Maria Rossi, the head coach of the Lady Bruins. She's done a wonderful job with that basketball team. I know that you guys not only attack basketball teams, but you also attack coaches in pregame planning and in skull sessions, and when you get to the blackboard and you're working with X's and O's. When you go up against Maria, who's an outstanding basketball coach, what do you expect from her?
Oh, a solid ball game. She's well, like you said, her team is well coached. She's very intense, and we knew that their players were going to be very intense. And before the ball game, you could sense in the locker room, in the hallways, the kids were both whooping it up and trying to outspike the other club. And like I said, they've been through it all year. So the pressure game for them, this is just, even though it was a big pressure game, it was a game that they wanted to win. And as bad as we did, I don't know if I'd say we were more prepared or we wanted it more. It was at the end when it was going to happen either our way or their way, ball went fast.
You got your 5 people that you have established as your starters. Somebody told me your 6th person coming off the bench is a sophomore by the name of Soraya Harden that's attracting a great deal of attention as far as her abilities are concerned. Can you tell us about her?
Well, actually, Soraya is a starter. Soraya, the first girl off the bench is a big girl, Becky Ostrowski. Early in the season, we were flirting around with different combinations, finding an identity. And we do have a couple big girls, actually 3 big girls who can start, and or 3 guards. And what we did early in the season with 3 big girls, we couldn't keep up the tempo, the pace that we wanted on defense.
But for a portion of the year, she was coming off the bench, right?
Actually, maybe first 2 or 3 ball games. And then she settled in there, and she has been a mainstay on our team.
How good can she be?
How good as good as she wants to be.
All right, I'm going to ask you the same question I've been asking everybody, even though I know the answer to it. But I'll let you get a tendency to respond. Here it is at 10:15 in the morning on Sunday, and you've won the District 2 Class A championship by knocking out Bishop O'Hara, but you still don't know where you're going to play next, do you?
No, we don't. We do know who we're going to play, but we figure it will be in our area.
Well, we're halfway home. Who are you going to play?
Forest City.
And, let's see. Halfway home. Oh, boy, that game could be put at Pittston Area High School. It could be a host of places.
Right. Well, last year when we had to play Susquehanna, we went up to Carbondale, which is more, I guess it's halfway for them, too, so.
Well, it's a lot further drive than it is for you folks. If Forest City to Carbondale is a lot closer, well, hey, a basketball court is a basketball court. That's the way I looked at it. If you're not playing, the thing that concerns me about the choice of courts as far as the PIAA is concerned, I don't care if you're playing in the backyard of your opposition, as long as they have not played an appreciable number of games on that court and you haven't played any. I think that's when the problem area begins. Don't you agree, George?
Exactly, right, I agree.
Because side angles are so very important in basketball, right?
Right. Like yesterday's game, as a matter of fact, we're playing at Valley West, which, we did play once this year, but their court is more confined like ours is, so it's great. It worked well for us.
But there is a possibility that you can meet O'Hara again, can't you?
I think it was the way, I didn't see the bracketing, but if we both keep on winning, it's possible we would meet later on in the finals.
I was about to say, you'd have to go to within within one or two games of the state championship, but it could happen.
Yes, it can.
And if it doesn't, take along your Valiums.
Yeah, I'll meet them.
George, listen, a delight talking to you. As long as you folks keep winning down at Bishop O'Reilly, if you don't mind, we'll be touching base with you for the remainder of the season, okay?
Thank you, Ron.
And again, congratulations on that big upset victory over the number 1 ranked 18 in the state of Pennsylvania, the Lady Bruins of Bishop O'Hara. George Barilla, head coach of the Queensmen of Bishop O'Reilly. Good morning, buddy.
Thank you.
Nice talking to you. We got some real great people, ladies and gentlemen, who participate. You were at that game, right?
Yeah.
How throat-clutching was the tension toward the...
At that point, somebody's got to break, and Hanover did.
Yeah, if you go quarter by quarter and take a look at the Dunmore-Bishop Holden game, the boys' game that was played on Friday, you would think that score was a 2-point differential, or maybe even a 1-point differential, and not much more all the way. But when I talked to Coach Jack Kelly of Dunmore, he told me, no, at one time, he had a 6-point lead. I'll tell you, you get a 6-point lead in a game of that caliber and with this much tension involved, that's like having an 11-run lead in a baseball game, isn't it?
Well, there's no question that some teams can react when there's not that much pressure on the line, but when you're down, 6 points or more in a playoff game, really, really have to bear down and not panic. It's easier said than done. Coaches panic, so naturally the players, these kids, these high school kids are gonna show some panic. But
announcers panic like me. When I found out that the number 1 ranked team in Pennsylvania, the Bishop O'Hara and Lady Bruins, on a buzzer beater was beaten by Bishop O'Reilly, and I guess this is turnabout being fair play. Last year, O'Reilly was supposed to cruise past O'Hara. O'Hara tripped them up this year. O'Hara goes into the game as the number 1 ranked team in the Commonwealth, gets down to a buzzer beater situation. Up goes the shot, bingo, buzzer goes off. Final score, O'Reilly 60, O'Hara 58. Surprising?
shocking. I think, again, when I opened the paper, anybody opened the paper this morning saw that one score jump out, that would be the game. There's no question. O'Reilly for the last, for almost all of George Barilla's 10 years, they've been a dominant team in the conference and at the district level. I think anytime somebody beat Bishop O'Reilly during that time, that was a shock. And I think this year, the roles were kind of reversed. Everybody just kind of assumed O'Hara was cream of the crop, and they are still among the cream of the crop. I mean, here they only lost to them a basket at the buzzer, but I think a lot of people were shocked that this Bishop O'Reilly team was able to win a district title. This has to be probably the most satisfying for those girls. Coach Barilla, I have to believe it. They've had much more talent there, and been upset where they've won district title. This one here, again, not to sell these girls short, but they were far from favored.
Tommy, hold those thoughts for just a second. I'll be back with you. Tommy Hausnick, who does an outstanding job of reporting on high school basketball. We're getting a review of what transpired yesterday. Among the girls' playoff games, there were just nothing more or less than a string of upsets, including a defeat of the number 1 ranked team in Pennsylvania among Class A girls basketball clubs, the Bishop O'Hara Lady Bruins, as you just heard Tommy point out. O'Reilly upset them and beat them 60-58. We'll be back with Thomas right after this.
National School Breakfast Week.
this morning as we head towards St. Patrick's Day. We thought it might be nice to have George Barilla of Bishop O'Reilly. And George graciously consented to join us no matter what, because that's the kind of guy he is. George's team lost last night to Lebanon Catholic 52-42 in the playoffs at Shikellamy. But Lebanon Catholic are a very impressive record in team, and they have been in the past. Tell us a little bit about, in the third quarter, you had that lead. Soraya helped you out there, and then I guess it wasn't to be for the Queens women.
No, a little disappointed right now, but we'll get over that, I think. But in that, the first half, it was nip and tuck all the way through. At the beginning, we started off a little slow, pre-game jitters, I think, and we were down about 8 points before we finally scored a basket. And at halftime, it was 19-21. We were down and came back early. In the second half, we took the lead, I think, by 1 point, and we did up it to 4 points at one point. It was like 30-26. And it looked like then we were going to get our game on track. They hit a bucket in a foul shot, made it 30-29, and we didn't score for a few more minutes, and we fell down behind at the end of the third quarter. And from there on, well, it was just who was going to pull it out.
But all in all, George, it's a fine season for the Queens women, and something I wanted to express. Terry and I talked yesterday, and I told him how fond I am of the relationship that the Queens women team has with you as their coach for several years, and with the area that you play in with all of the fans.
Oh, that's true. For the last couple of years, or about 8 years, 10 years now, the fans have expected us to, at this time of the year, to move on and play in these inter-district games, and the fan support, the community support, the school support, everyone is behind us, and it's great for the kids, and they said great for our community. And yesterday was another example. We were quite a distance away, but we had a busload of fans come up in a lot of cars, and they were behind us pulling. And late in that game, we were down by 10 again in the fourth quarter, and we cut it to 4. With about 2 minutes to go. We had a shot at it to cut it to 2, a little chippy, didn't fall, and then they put a stall on. We had a fall, but our fans were cheering with us all the way to the last 2 seconds, and our girls are still trying to press them, and it's great. It's great to really see that.
Congratulations on a wonderful season, sir.
Thank you.
And I'll tell you what, George, this weekend with St. Patrick's Day coming, the Queens women should get out there decked out in the green and enjoy some parades, and you all should be very proud of yourselves, and the area again salutes you on a fine season, and a coach that never quits, that really works well with his girls.
Thank you, Kelly.
And that's George Barilla, the head coach of the Bishop O'Reilly Queens women, joining us this morning as we get closer to St. Patrick's Day on 1.
590 WARM at 7 before 7.